Morning everybody. Today is kind of a busy day. We're going to be changing our feeders in our barn here. The new ones just showed up this morning on top of the trailer there. This is my trailer. We're going to end up throwing the scrap on there from the old one because it's probably just going to be scrap. So Dad and I are going to go back and get some material and we're going to get started here. I just got done making some pieces here that we needed. So the new feeder is different than the old feeder. So these are some extensions of the previous mounts and made an adjustable point here. We'll set bolt. These feet are going to set down on an existing part on the feeder. That set bolt will jam on this surface here. So we'll have an adjustable height so we can get our feeder level throughout the barn. Well, it's been a better part of a day here. We made these mounts that used to go on those pipes that were over there that were up there. Ended up being too high, so yeah, they ended up dropping the whole feeder down. So now we're back on these bars here, and these bars weren't the intended mount, but that's what we're going to end up doing here. So we got some clearance issues with that hay conveyor up there. You can see the bottom of that blue conveyor up there. That's our hay conveyor. So we're going to mount this a little different than what we planned on doing, but they're working on getting the cable on now, and we'll see if we got enough clearance. Well, working on running the new belt down. They've got the cable strung. Working on putting together the drive down there. They've got the motor on. Working on wiring it and then hooking the drive chain up. But looks like it's going together. It's a bit of a process, you know, putting in a new feeder in an old barn. You got to make everything work. You know, the feeder that was in here worked well with what was in this barn, so you have to kind of adapt everything to accept the new feeder. So it's a bit of a tedious process here. Well, we got it put together. I didn't get to film, I think, even a third of what I wanted to. You're pretty busy doing this. Like I said, you know, this is a new feeder put in an old facility here. So you have all these conveyors. This is our cross conveyor here that you can barely see because it's dark in here. This is our baled hay conveyor that runs all the way across the barn to the mixer that's way over there. And so you have some obstacles you have to get around and make it work. One issue we had was the height of this. This is our baled hay conveyor up here. And we had a clearance issue between the top of that and the bottom of this conveyor. And so we'd made those really nice brackets, and I'm sure I'll throw that in this video, but unfortunately we didn't get to use them. Because what happened is those brackets went on a pipe that was up here, another 4 inches higher. So that pushed this feeder 4 inches up, and if you look, there's not even 2 inches there, let alone 4 inches. And you can also see that that arm that controls the plow movement forward and backwards rides on top of that cable. So that adds another problem. And then the other problem being, we needed to move our cross conveyor over a little bit further. This feeder is a little wider and obviously made different than our previous one. So the hopper that catches the feed dumping out of that conveyor is not quite in the same place. So we had to push that over. Dad and I took and made a piece of angle iron. I'm gonna see if I can get my flashlight out here. And bolted it to the bottom of that conveyor there to keep that conveyor from kind of falling back downhill. Because if you look, you can see this conveyor is at an uphill rise. And if we wouldn't have put that there, that feeder, or not feeder, sorry, that conveyor has been in place for 30 years. It's kind of naturally kind of got a spot settled in the wood of the barn where it's been for a while. And had we not put that in there, it could have potentially moved and gone back. But we didn't get to film all of what I wanted to. I was hoping to get some assembly, but honestly, a lot of this assembly was done while Dad and I were both off fabricating our mounts that we needed. And unfortunately, we didn't end up using them. But we got here after they got the drive end up down there, and kind of we started putting this through halfway together there, and it's done. We're gonna call it a day. It's late. Backs are sore, feet are sore. Standing on concrete does that to you.
Grumbling bellies.
Grumbling bellies. Yeah, we're both hungry. So here's the remnants of the old feeder and my dog, who's being a dummy barking. But here's the old feeder here. You can see she's got some age to her. You know, the feet down there, that was rusted off. The main problem is you can't get parts for these feeders anymore. Here's the plow. Dad will talk about this here a little bit.
This is the main problem here. These plows, you can't get parts anymore. This plow's gone. We've been patching it together, keeping it going for the last year. And so it's just beyond the point of return. So it was time. I had to make an upgrade.
There's
expensive, but necessary.
There's our nice mounts we made that unfortunately didn't get used. Hopefully they'll work for the other feeder, because this is only part one of the ordeal. We have the whole nother feeder on the other side of the barn to do. That feeder, actually parts of it are over there and the other parts are back in the back, so more work for another day. We're gonna pack up. We're both tired and hungry, and it's time to call it a day. Well, today is day 2 of installing feeders. We did our first one last week on Thursday. Today is Monday of the following week, a couple days later. So we're doing the second feeder now. I'm running after some more tools. So we're gonna get cracking on this. Just got back from lunch. Guys from Mass Upway aren't quite back yet. Dad's dumping feed right now, the other group of cows. So while we're doing this, we're pushing the cows to one side of the barn so they all can feed off the other feeder. That way we can get the other one installed. We did this last week. Last week we pushed the low group side over to the high group. That way they could eat over here. Now this week we're doing the opposite. Since we're doing this feeder, we pushed them to the low group side so they can eat over there. So I'm gonna go help Dad. We're making some brackets for hanging this thing off of. So there's some things that conflict here, you know, just like on the other side. This side's not so bad, but there are a few things, so we got to keep this feeder low enough. So I'm gonna go help Dad finish those up. We'll get back to putting this thing in. Well, the cows are back on feed now. On this side of the barn, they had feed on the other side of the barn all day, but just ran this bunk full. So Mass Lepley just left. We're done for the day. As far as messing with the feeder here, we got loads of tools to put away and scrap metal and all sorts of stuff. And then clean up from the day. You know, every job you do, you end up with a mess, really. So gotta go clean it all up. So I'm gonna go put this in the shed for the day. That way it's under roof. This is the old feeders. There's really nothing of value on them. I guess the biggest reason why we replaced these things was the feeder plows are just completely and utterly shot, worn out. I think Dad said 1987 is when these things went in, so I guess they really don't owe us anything considering how long they've been in here. Can't get parts for them anymore. They're discontinued, so I guess that's ultimately why the trigger was pulled on this. We've been needing them for a minute, but you know, things have been a little tight, so we haven't done it. But we finally decided they'd given up the ghost. You can see here's a plow right here. You can see that hole there and hole over there, and the other one's not in any better shape down here. So yeah, they're shot. So I'm gonna go put this load away and continue cleaning up. Well, it's been a week since this last feeder here was installed. The other one we did a couple days beforehand. But so far they're doing a nice job. The only issue we seem to be having is these feeders are slightly wider. And so where it wants to throw the feed is a little close to the edge here. You can see how close this feed is kind of catered to this side of the bunk. There's a little diverter they sell to put on those piles. We got those on order. Just waiting on those to get in, but they seem to be doing a nice job. They're very quiet compared to the old feeders, which is a plus, you know, but they seem to be doing a real nice job for us. Took a little doing, you know, to get everything in here to work. You know, anytime you make a renovation to an older facility, you know, you have other things to factor in, like our mixer and our incline conveyor are stationary. They've been here, so everything else is, you know, tailored to that. That cross conveyor up there runs over to the other side of the barn. We also have another belt feeder here that actually takes feed in through here to our pre-fresh group. And so had to make everything work with other aspects of our feeding system here. So it took a little doing, but nothing we couldn't overcome. Just took a little strategic placement of certain items. But yeah, they seem to be doing a nice job. I don't know if Dad wants to say anything about them, or if that pretty well.
They're simple, quiet, greasable, and we eliminated all these legs. There used to be legs in the feed bunk supporting the old feeder, and these are all supported on top. It's a nice clean place for the cows to eat, or if you need to get in there to do any cleaning, it's all open now. There's no obstructions, so that's really nice. It's a clean appearing machine. Very nice.